Hi, I'm Steve. Welcome to Guitar Works, where today I'm going to talk about how to use tritones in blues. First, I'm going to play an etude, very short. The PDF is below. It's just littered with tritones. In fact, every place I use a tritone, I put an asterisk above where it's used. And afterwards, we'll talk about what they are and how you might be able to use them. Now, hopefully you could hear where the changes were happening. In fact, every place where it changed from like the 1 chord to the 4 chord, back to the 1 to the 5 chord, every place that happened, I was using tritones to introduce those changes. First, what is a tritone? It's an interval of an augmented fourth, and on its own it sounds pretty bad. I'll play a tritone, the tritone that would be in an A7 chord, which is the flat 7 and the third. So here's the tritone of A. Pretty bad sounding, but if you put the A in the bottom, it sounds okay. Sounds kind of nice. And if you resolve it, go from the A7 to the D, it sounds even better. So while tritones on their own sound pretty bad, in context they sound really good. So the trick is, this is a trick I learned like 40 some years ago, and I've been using it ever since. First off, blues that I was used to playing did not coincide with any of the theory that I was learning, because in all diatonic theory there's only one dominant seventh chord, and it's the chord with the tritone in it. In blues, however, you've got a lot of times 3 different dominant seventh chords. Dominant seventh on the 1, the 4, and the 5. For adjacent strings, the tritones across the neck are this. You'll see a tritone if you play a dominant seventh chord. Say you've got a dominant seventh bar chord, the tritone is right there. So the trick is, if you're playing tritones, to go to the 4 chord, you can just simply go down by a half step. Back to the 1 chord, you go back up the half step. If you go to the 5 chord, up a half step. Back to the 4 chord, which is right below, and then back to 1. What's happening is, when the tritone is here, it's the flat 7 and the 3 of the A chord. Now when you go to D, and these 2 notes go down, suddenly the flat 7 of the A chord becomes the 3rd of the D chord. And the 3rd of the A7 chord becomes the 7th of the D chord. So what's happening is they're flip-flopping. So you can really introduce the change without playing the chord by playing something like... It sounds kind of odd, but you can hear where it goes from the A to the D. So here's the concept. You can play A, D, A, D, A, now E, D, A. Now, obviously that's pretty repetitive and boring, but what you want to do is use that to fold it into your playing. The 3rd and the 7th are really key to the character of any chord. So by playing the 7th and the 3rd in this case, you're really outlining what an A7 is. And when you're playing the third and the seventh of the D, you're outlining the character of that chord as well. So you can fold it into your playing. So what I did, and I would suggest that you do it as well, is write licks that use this and that change the chords. What I'll do is play just this part. And I'll play a single note line that introduces those changes through the tritone. Here we go. You could hear how it goes underneath. So let's take it slowly. There's the first tritone. There's the second tritone. There's the tritone change. Now that sounds kind of old-fashioned. I'll change to a more modern, distorted sound, and we'll do the second example of this. Now I've played the twice over both the A and the D. There's a tritone. There's the tritone for the D, right? So the A, D, back to the A again. An interesting thing about tritones is that they divide the octave exactly in half. They're the only interval that does that. The A7 tritone is G, C sharp, and G. Same distance from G to C sharp as it is from C sharp to G again. So I suggest you write your own licks using the tritones. The important thing is to visualize the chords over which the tritones lay, and you'll see them on your dominant seventh chords. Write your own, see what you can come up with, be creative. I hope this is a help to you. It helped me break away from using pentatonics all the time, which I was doing 40 years ago. But it was a real eye-opener for me. It was kind of my launching point to playing over changes. Anyway, I hope it was of use to you. Please like and subscribe if you would. Thank you for watching.